slabe slovenščine, bom govorila po angleško. You ready? Najlepša hvala. I'm from a country that is highly populated. Speaking of high population, a friend once asked me how many people live in my country. When I told him the number, he said, "Lohi, do they not have birth control there?" The world also sees my country as corrupt and very underdeveloped. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you one of my many experiences with this perception of people from my country. In 2018, I came to Slovenia to study for my MBA. I was not expecting a walk in the park. I was expecting the arguments, the push, the pull that comes from being in the same room with people who were smart and offering solutions to organizations and leading big corporations. So I was expecting the critical arguments and discussions that would happen. Fast forward to getting to class, I found out that the style of learning was that you learn and then you get a case study. You go into a group with your case study team to resolve the challenges of that case study. After a while, I noticed that my classmates, when I bring up a contribution and a suggestion on how to solve the problem we were dealing with, I noticed quickly that my classmates would shut me down. If they even allow me to talk at all, it would be trashed the minute the contribution came up. So I became very reclusive. I'm a very hyperactive person, energetic. So I became very reclusive. I was looking forward to long weekends, to short weeks. When I was getting ready to go to class, I was feeling very stressed in my mind. Just looking at the mirror would stress me out. I totally felt like just packing my stuff, hiding under my bag and under my bed and never showing up for classes. So this went on for a while. Then one day, I was in my case study class with another case study group. To give you an idea of the diversity of the class, we had students from Germany, we had students from Slovenia, from Serbia, Macedonia, we had Russians, Estonians, we had students from across Europe. There was one South African, and then there was me. So on that day, I was in the hall with my case study team. We took a break. Everyone went out to have a coffee and to take some fresh air. I stopped going out. So the South African came in, and she was looking very dull, sick, confused. And so I asked her, "What is the problem?" She said her teammates do not believe in the value of the contributions she is making because of her country of origin. And the minute she said that, it suddenly occurred to me that the expressions I saw on her face when she walked into the room were the exact same expressions I saw every morning on the mirror looking back at me. And so at that point, I realized I was very disappointed in my classmates, to be honest. I was hurt and disappointed. This is because I had come to Europe to the class with an expectation to learn. I had never been in a workspace, a European workspace, and so I was hungry to find out how they resolved problems in their countries. I had expected that my classmates too, who had never been to my country, would be interested in maximizing the opportunity of having someone from my country to help them understand how work life exists in my country. Let me paint a picture for you, what it looks like to study and work in my country versus what it looks like to study and work in a European country. In my country, the whole system runs on education. The more certifications you have, the more chances you have of succeeding. Whether you want to start a business or you want to work for someone, you need to have good results, and then you need to keep having certifications. Remember, I said it's highly populated. And so you need to go to school, and let me tell you what it looks like to school in a typical university in my country. A classroom that should sit 50 people would sit 200. And to help you, to make it a little bit personal, in my 4 years of my first degree, I don't remember ever getting a seat in any of the classes I attended in 4 years. The only times I probably had a seat was when I was in the laboratory doing research or running tests, because I did microbiology in my first degree. And so you could go to school for 4 years and never have a seat. That's how congested. And think, in my country, it's really hot. There are no air conditioning systems in the classrooms. So with all of this in mind, you do not have the option of dropping out of school, because if you're going to be successful in your career or in starting a business, you need the certifications. But I found out that in the typical system in European countries, education is mostly free, and you could decide to go to school up to high school. The system is designed to help you succeed with whatever level of education you have. So you do not necessarily need to have a degree. It's great to have one, but without going to the university, you could easily build a successful career. So the system is designed to support that kind of process. In my country, if you drop out to go learn a skill, you don't want to go to school anymore because it's inconvenient or it's too expensive. You want to become a hairdresser or a taxi driver or a varovanie. You do not get the support of your family. And that's because in my country, it's not reputable work to be a hairdresser, to be a taxi driver or a security guard. In Europe, if you decide you want to become a hairdresser, a taxi driver, or a varovanie, it's not exactly reputable work, but you do have the support of your friends and family. It's okay if this is what you want to do with your life. In my country, the workspace is very competitive. Remember, highly populated, very educated people. And so you have the competitive place of work where you need to churn out results by the millisecond. The proof that you're actually working and being very productive is in you being on your desk 24/7, as long as you're at work. And so a typical work day looks like this. Arrive at the office, work, lunch break, work, and close. So if you are, it's also a very male-dominated system. So if you're female and you succeed in progressing from one base of employment to the next, you're really good at your job. I had gone from heading 2 units and was at the point where I was studying my MBA, I was the head of corporate communications in my country. Honey, you should think about that. Voila. In a European country, the work system is so easy. I mean, it's competitive, don't get me wrong. It's result-driven, and you need to be productive too, but it's so easy. It's so easy, it was a culture shock for me. Let me describe a typical European work setting. Arrive at the office, coffee, work, coffee again, lunch break, coffee again, work, and close. And so you do get to be progressive, right? And you do get to get your promotion when it's due. You have a direct relationship with your manager. You can see the owner of the business. It's really easy for you to progress. It's so easy. And so I was coming from this system, and I was trying to understand this system. I needed my classmates to, because I was like a sponge, I needed to understand how this works. How are you guys so progressive and productive and successful with this system? And I had anticipated that my classmates who didn't know anything about the system in my country would be interested in finding out about this, but this was not the case. As I wrap up, the world forms opinions and perceptions based on what we read and hear. And my classmates had created a filter of their own making based on the things they heard about my continent. And everything I said that was a contribution of value was put through that filter. And by the time it came out on the other end, it was never going to be good enough. We all have perceptions, biases that we assign to people, unconsciously even, based on where they're from, not based on who they are. Engaging with people on a personal level gives us a perspective that's both new and fresh. And so today, I hope I walk away from this stage not just as a Nigerian in your eyes, but as Lohi, an individual with abilities, skills, competencies, personal experiences worth exploring. See people for who they are and not based on where they're from. Najlepša hvala za poslušanje.